What if I told you that the next penny you pick up could be worth hundreds, thousands, or potentially even more? It sounds unbelievable, but some old Lincoln Wheat Pennies have become highly sought-after collectibles. Every day, people across America handle old coins without giving them a second thought. They may look scratched, faded, or completely ordinary, but certain dates, mint marks, and rare minting errors can make a major difference to collectors. Welcome back to Rare Nickel Coin PK. Today, we're taking a closer look at three exceptionally rare and valuable Lincoln Wheat Pennies that serious collectors keep an eye out for. So before you toss an old wheat penny into a vending machine or spend it at the store, inspect it carefully. Check the year, look for the mint mark, and pay attention to anything unusual about the coin. Stay with me because these three discoveries get more fascinating as we go, and the final one may be the biggest surprise of all. Now, let's start with coin number 1. Imagine finding an old Lincoln Wheat Penny in a collection, an inherited coin box, an antique jar, or even among forgotten change, and then noticing the date 1944 with no mint mark beneath Lincoln's portrait. That tiny coin immediately becomes interesting because the 1944 Philadelphia Lincoln Wheat Penny is connected to one of the most fascinating periods in American coinage history. Produced during the final years of World War II, this classic copper-colored cent carries a powerful historical story, and its connection to wartime America gives collectors an additional reason to appreciate it. The 1944 Philadelphia issue had an enormous mintage of 1,435,400,000 pieces, making it the first U.S. cent to cross the 1 billion coin production mark. Yet the real excitement comes from the fact that exceptional condition, beautiful original color, and rare minting characteristics can create dramatically higher collector demand. So when you see a 1944 wheat penny without a mint mark, do not simply pass it by. Examine it closely because the difference between an ordinary example and a remarkable specimen can be surprisingly important in the coin market. The history behind the 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny makes this coin especially fascinating. In 1943, the United States Mint changed the composition of the cent to zinc-coated steel as part of wartime efforts to conserve copper for military purposes. By the beginning of 1944, the Mint returned to a copper-based alloy for Lincoln cents, and production of the new bronze composition began on January 1, 1944. The standard 1944 cent was made from approximately 95% copper with tin and zinc, weighed about 3.11 grams, and measured roughly 19 millimeters in diameter. There has long been a popular story that 1944 cents were produced entirely from recycled World War II shell casings, although numismatic researchers have pointed out that the enormous production volume means the alloy could not have come exclusively from reclaimed military material. Some shell casing metal was certainly used, however, adding another fascinating wartime connection to this famous coin. One of the first things collectors notice about this particular coin is the absence of a mint mark. That missing letter is not automatically an error. For the 1944 Philadelphia issue, no mint mark is exactly what we expect to see. The obverse features Victor David Brenner's famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln, while the reverse displays the two wheat ears that gave the series its famous wheat penny nickname. The design itself is instantly recognizable and represents one of the longest-running and most beloved classic U.S. cent designs. A circulated example may show wear across Lincoln's hair, cheek, jaw, and clothing, while the wheat ears on the reverse can also show varying levels of detail depending on how extensively the coin circulated. Even when a coin has obvious circulation, collectors appreciate the strong historical character that comes with a genuine 1944 wheat cent, and an attractive example with pleasing color and clear details can be a wonderful addition to a collection. The words circulated condition are extremely important when discussing the 1944 no mint mark wheat penny, because this issue exists in enormous numbers, yet condition still determines how collectors view individual pieces. A circulated 1944 Philadelphia cent can show everything from light wear to substantial circulation. But coins with strong remaining details, attractive surfaces, and appealing natural color can stand out from the thousands of ordinary examples available in the marketplace. PCGS notes that circulated 1944 cents are abundant, with individual circulated examples often available around the dollar level, while CoinWeek similarly reports that a typical circulated example may trade around 50 cents to $1. This means the real treasure hunting excitement comes from examining the coin for something beyond its basic date and mint location. A particularly sharp strike, attractive original appearance, unusual variety, or an unexpected error can completely change the story. Now we come to the part that gets collectors excited: value. Current published guides show that an ordinary 1944 no mint mark Lincoln Wheat Penny in circulated condition is generally a modest value collectible, while the value rises as condition improves. USA Coin Book's February 2026 estimates list approximately 6 cents for a fine example, 12 cents for very fine, 24 cents for extremely fine, and around 43 cents for about uncirculated, with uncirculated examples beginning around $1.24 and reaching approximately $6.25 in the listed MS63 range. Other market references place ordinary circulated examples around 50 cents to $1, while high-grade red examples can move into much higher price territory. This is where collectors need to understand the difference between a common circulated 1944 cent and an elite condition specimen. The date alone does not create a fortune, but exceptional preservation and scarce high-grade quality can create a much more competitive market. The color of the coin is another major factor, and this is where the phrase color circulated condition becomes especially interesting. Copper coins naturally change color as they age and interact with the environment, so collectors often describe Lincoln cents using designations such as brown, and red. A circulated 1944 penny will normally show some degree of color change because it has spent time exposed to air, handling, and everyday circulation. However, collectors are always attracted to coins with pleasing, natural appearance and strong visual appeal. When a 1944 cent survives in truly high-grade red condition, the market can become dramatically stronger. CoinWeek reports that mint state red examples can reach approximately $12.50 in MS65 RD and around $150 in MS67 RD, while another current market guide places an exceptional MS68 red example in the five-figure range. These numbers show why preserving original surfaces and understanding color designations is so important when evaluating an old Lincoln cent. There is an even more exciting side to the 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny story, and that is the famous 1944 steel cent. During 1943, steel planchets were used for regular Lincoln cents, but in 1944 the mint returned to copper-based planchets. A very small number of 1944 cents were nevertheless struck on leftover steel planchets, creating one of the most famous transitional errors in Lincoln cent history. These rare 1944 steel cents are entirely different from the normal Philadelphia copper penny, and they can command extraordinary prices because of their extreme rarity. Current reports have placed major 1944 steel cent examples in the tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars, while recent media coverage has highlighted the extraordinary values associated with rare 1944 steel varieties. This is why anyone examining a 1944 wheat penny should pay close attention to its composition rather than assuming every 1944 cent is identical. The standard no-mint mark copper coin is a fascinating collectible in its own right, but a genuine 1944 steel error would be an entirely different level of discovery. For collectors searching through old coins today, the best strategy is careful observation. Start by confirming the date and looking directly beneath the date for the mint mark area. A blank space indicates Philadelphia for this issue. Next, examine the coin under good lighting and study Lincoln's portrait, the lettering, the rim, and the wheat stalks. Look closely for unusual doubling, striking characteristics, surface anomalies, or anything that appears different from a normal 1944 cent. Pay attention to the coin's color and make sure the appearance looks natural rather than artificially altered. Do not clean, polish, scrape, or chemically treat the coin. Because original surfaces are extremely important to collectors, and cleaning can destroy the very qualities that make a coin desirable. If the coin looks unusually sharp or appears to have an important variety or error, professional authentication and grading can be a smart next step. A certified grade can give buyers and sellers much greater confidence when a potentially valuable coin enters the marketplace. The most powerful lesson from the 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny is that a coin's story can be much bigger than its face value. More than 1.4 billion Philadelphia cents were produced in 1944, yet collectors continue to search through old rolls, collections, jars, and inherited coin accumulations because exceptional examples and rare varieties can still command strong premiums. PCGS specifically emphasizes that the strongest market for the regular 1944 issue is in superb mint state grades, especially MS67 and above, where condition becomes much more difficult to achieve. That creates a fascinating treasure hunting opportunity. The ordinary circulated coin can serve as a beautiful piece of history, while a spectacularly preserved example can become a much more important numismatic item. And when a genuine rare error such as a 1944 steel cent enters the picture, the potential market value can rise into an entirely different category. So, as you look at a 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark, remember that you are holding a coin connected to one of the most dramatic chapters in American history. It represents wartime America, the return from steel cents to copper-based cents, the famous Lincoln wheat design, and a collector market where condition and unusual characteristics can make a major difference. A normal circulated example is generally a modest value collectible, but the search becomes much more exciting when you discover exceptional preservation, beautiful original color, and unusual variety, or most dramatically, a genuine 1944 steel error. That is why collectors continue to examine these coins with enthusiasm. The next time a 1944 wheat penny appears in an old collection, do not overlook it simply because it looks small or familiar. Turn it over, study every detail, protect its original surfaces, and investigate its characteristics carefully. The coin may be a common historic treasure, a premium collector specimen, or something far more extraordinary, and that possibility is what keeps the hunt for Lincoln wheat pennies alive in today's collecting world. Next up, the 1957 wheat penny is a fascinating piece of American history, especially when it appears in attractive, extremely fine condition with pleasing natural color and strong remaining detail. More than 282 million 1957 cents were struck at Philadelphia, and while the date itself is well known, collectors still pay close attention to coins with superior preservation, attractive surfaces, strong strikes, and unusual characteristics. Current market data also show that exceptional grades can command dramatically higher prices than ordinary examples. So today, we are taking a close look at the 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark, exploring its history, design, rarity, condition, collector demand, market values, and the characteristics that can turn an ordinary-looking old penny into a much more exciting numismatic discovery. The story of the 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny takes us back to the closing chapter of one of America's most recognizable coin series. The Lincoln cent was introduced in 1909, featuring Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the famous wheat ears on the reverse, a design created by Victor David Brenner. By 1957, this classic design had already been circulating for nearly half a century, and the nation was moving toward a new era in American coinage. The 1957 Philadelphia cent was struck from a bronze composition containing approximately 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, with a weight of about 3.11 grams and a diameter of 19 millimeters. Philadelphia produced 282,540,000 examples that year, and because Philadelphia coins of this era normally carried no mint mark, the absence of a letter beneath the date is completely correct for this issue. That makes the blank mint mark area an important identification feature rather than something that should automatically be considered an error. One of the most appealing characteristics of the 1957 wheat penny is its unmistakable classic appearance. On the obverse, Abraham Lincoln faces right, surrounded by the inscriptions "Liberty in God We Trust" and the date 1957. On the reverse, two wheat ears frame the denomination 1 cent and the inscription "United States of America," creating the iconic design that earned these coins their wheat penny nickname. Collectors examining an extremely fine example will want to study the remaining definition in Lincoln's hair, cheek, jaw, coat, and other raised areas, while the reverse should be checked for the strength and clarity of the wheat ears, lettering, and central details. The coin's natural color is also an important part of its visual appeal. A circulated copper cent can display attractive brown or reddish-brown coloration, and collectors often pay close attention to the overall originality and eye appeal of the surfaces. The 1957 issue also has a distinctive feature noted by NGC. The numeral 7 in the date uses a somewhat stubby style compared with the longer-tailed style seen on earlier cents, providing another interesting detail for collectors who enjoy studying the design closely. When we talk about the rarity of the 1957 no mint mark wheat penny, the most important point is that rarity can mean very different things in different grades. The Philadelphia issue had a large production of 282,540,000 coins, so the date is readily available in circulated grades. But collectors know that availability does not mean every individual coin is identical. A well-preserved coin with attractive color, strong detail, clean surfaces, and excellent eye appeal can stand apart from the huge number of ordinary circulated pieces. NGC specifically notes that the 1957 Philadelphia cent remains common even in fully red mint state condition, while examples at the very highest MS67 red level become considerably scarcer. That is where the collector market becomes especially interesting, because competition for exceptional examples can be much stronger than competition for ordinary circulated coins. An extremely fine 1957 penny may therefore be best appreciated as a historic collectible, while an unusually attractive specimen with superior preservation can become much more desirable as it moves toward the upper end of the grading scale. Now let's talk about the current dollar values surrounding the 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny, because this is where many collectors become curious. Published market guides currently show that a typical 1957 Philadelphia wheat penny is generally a low-dollar collectible in circulated condition. USA Coin Book's February 2026 estimates list approximately 6 cents for fine, 12 cents for very fine, 14 cents for extremely fine, and 18 cents for about uncirculated examples, while its listed uncirculated values begin around 36 cents and reach approximately $1.24 at MS63. Another current market-based guide shows higher figures for collectible-grade examples, including approximately $5.76 in VF, $6.79 in AU, $8.03 in MS62, $14.49 in MS64, and about $29.01 in MS66. These different figures demonstrate an important fact about the coin market. Published values can vary according to source, grade, certification, color designation, and actual buyer demand. The most exciting part is that the same 1957 date can move from a tiny premium over face value to a much more substantial price when the coin reaches extraordinary grades. The color and condition of a 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny can make the coin even more interesting. Collectors commonly classify copper cents according to their appearance as brown, red-brown, or red, with fully red original color generally being the most desirable in mint state grades. For a circulated extremely fine example, however, the focus is on attractive natural color, remaining detail, surface quality, and overall eye appeal. The important thing is to recognize that an old copper coin can develop color naturally over many decades, and collectors value originality. NGC's current information for the 1957 Philadelphia issue shows a progression of market values as certified grades rise, with its guide listing approximately 10 cents at XF, 50 cents at MS60, $1 at MS63, $2.50 at MS65, $5 at MS66, and $12.50 at MS67 for the brown category. These numbers highlight how much the grading scale matters. Once a coin reaches truly exceptional condition, even a date with a large mintage can become much more competitive among collectors. There is another reason the 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny can generate excitement in today's market. Extraordinary certified examples can command values far beyond ordinary guide prices. One current market-based source lists approximately $548 for an MS67 example and around $658 for MS68, with even higher algorithm-based figures shown for the most exceptional grades. These figures should be understood as market estimates rather than guarantees, because individual auction results can vary considerably, and the exact color designation, certification, provenance, and buyer interest can all affect the final selling price. Still, they demonstrate the central idea behind serious coin collecting. The highest value examples are often not simply rare dates, but coins that achieve a combination of exceptional grade, attractive appearance, and scarcity at that grade. This is why collectors continue searching through older Lincoln cents. A common date can become a much more important collectible when a truly outstanding specimen appears. For anyone holding a 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark, the best approach is careful examination and preservation. Start by confirming the date and checking the area beneath the date where a mint mark would normally appear on coins struck at other facilities. Then inspect Lincoln's portrait under good lighting, paying attention to the hair, cheek, jaw, coat, and lettering. Turn the coin over and examine the wheat ears, central lettering, rims, and overall surface quality. Look for unusual doubling or other striking characteristics, but remember that not every irregularity is a valuable variety, so significant discoveries should be verified by reliable references or professional specialists. Most importantly, avoid cleaning or polishing the coin. Natural surfaces and original color are important to collectors, and harsh cleaning can permanently change the appearance and reduce desirability. If the coin looks exceptionally sharp, attractive, or unusual, professional grading from a recognized service can provide a valuable independent assessment and may make the coin easier to market to serious collectors. The real fascination with the 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny comes from the possibility of finding something special hiding inside a very familiar coin. More than 282 million Philadelphia examples were produced, yet collectors continue to search because condition rarity can transform the market importance of an individual piece. NGC points out that while the issue is common in many grades, examples at the highest red mint state levels become much more scarce. This creates an exciting ladder of collector demand, from the everyday circulated wheat penny to the beautifully preserved specimen and ultimately to the elite certified coin that competes for attention among advanced collectors. That is why an old penny should never be judged only by its face value. Its date, mint location, condition, color, strike, surface quality, and certification can all contribute to its desirability. For treasure hunters, the greatest excitement is not necessarily finding a rare date. It is discovering an unusually impressive example of a coin that millions of people once handled without realizing that decades later collectors would study its smallest details. So, as we reach the conclusion of our journey through the 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark, remember what makes this little coin so fascinating. It is a genuine piece of American history from the final years of the wheat cent design, struck at the Philadelphia Mint in bronze, and carrying the timeless portrait of Abraham Lincoln. An extremely fine circulated example can be an attractive and affordable addition to a collection, while beautifully preserved high-grade pieces can bring substantially stronger prices, with current market references showing values rising into the hundreds of dollars for some exceptional certified grades. The key is to examine the coin carefully, preserve its natural surfaces, understand its grade, study its color, and verify anything unusual before assuming a major value. While the standard 1957 no-mint penny is not automatically a millionaire coin, the world of rare coins is full of dramatic differences between ordinary pieces and extraordinary specimens. So the next time you see a 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny, take a second look. That small copper coin may be common in one condition, but a truly exceptional example can become a highly desirable piece of numismatic history, and that is exactly what makes the search so exciting for collectors today. Next up, the 1934 Lincoln Wheat Penny is a fascinating survivor from an important chapter in American history, and its classic design, age, copper composition, and potential for exceptional grades continue to attract collectors. Philadelphia produced 219,080,000 examples in 1934, and while that large production means the regular issue is available in circulated grades, the story becomes much more exciting when a coin has strong details, attractive natural color, excellent surfaces, or an unusual variety. Current market references show that ordinary examples are affordable, while exceptional certified pieces can reach substantially higher values. That is exactly why the 1934 wheat penny deserves a close look whenever one appears in your collection. The history behind the 1934 Lincoln Wheat Penny makes it even more special. This coin was produced during the period when the United States was beginning to recover from the economic hardships of the Great Depression, and demand for new coinage increased significantly. NGC notes that the 1934 Philadelphia cent was produced in large numbers during this period of economic recovery, and the mint produced the coins with generally good quality and relatively limited die erosion. The 1934 issue also represents an interesting point in the evolution of the Lincoln cent design, because the numeral 3 in the date received a longer tail, creating a distinctive date style that collectors can recognize when examining examples from this period. The coin was designed by Victor David Brenner and continues the famous Lincoln portrait and wheat reverse introduced in 1909. Made from bronze containing approximately 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, the coin weighs about 3.11 grams and measures approximately 19 millimeters in diameter. Holding one today means holding a small piece of the economic and cultural history of 1930s America. One of the first details collectors should notice is the absence of a mint mark. On the 1934 Lincoln Wheat Penny, a blank area beneath the date means the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and this is exactly what we expect from the regular Philadelphia issue. There is no need for a letter to appear in that location. On the obverse, Abraham Lincoln's portrait dominates the coin with "Liberty in God we Trust" and the date surrounding his image. Flip the coin over and the famous wheat ears appear on either side of 1 cent and United States of America. These wheat stalks are what gave the entire series its beloved wheat penny nickname. For a collector examining an extremely fine example, the most interesting areas include Lincoln's hair, cheek, jaw, coat, the lettering, the rim, and the wheat ears on the reverse. A well-preserved circulated coin can retain a remarkable amount of its original design, and the combination of age, detail, and natural copper color can give a 1934 cent tremendous visual character. The condition of a 1934 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat Penny is where the collector story becomes particularly interesting. An extremely fine coin, commonly represented around the EF40 level, has experienced circulation but still retains substantial design detail and can be a very attractive collectible. Current NGC pricing places a 1934 Philadelphia cent at approximately $1 in XF for the brown designation, with values increasing through higher mint state grades. USA Coin Book's February 2026 guide gives an estimated $1.24 for an extremely fine example, and approximately $4.96 for about uncirculated, while higher uncirculated grades move upward from there. APMEX's current guide for the red-brown designation shows an XF40 value of about $6, demonstrating how color designation and market source can produce meaningful differences in published prices. This is why collectors should look at the entire coin rather than relying only on the date. Detail, color, surface preservation, eye appeal, and grade all contribute to the coin's place in the collector market. The color of a copper coin is another feature that can make the 1934 wheat penny especially appealing. Collectors commonly classify copper Lincoln cents as brown, or red, with full original red color generally commanding the strongest premiums in high mint state grades. For an extremely fine circulated coin, however, Natural brown or reddish-brown coloration can provide excellent eye appeal and demonstrate that the coin has developed its appearance naturally over many decades. A collector should pay close attention to the surfaces and avoid anything that looks artificially brightened, polished, or chemically altered. The most desirable coins are those that retain original, attractive surfaces and clear design detail. APMEX's current guide for a 1934 Philadelphia red-brown cent shows approximately $6 at MS60, $12 at MS63, $16 at MS64, $27 at MS65, $45 at MS66, and $121 at MS67. While its red designation reaches approximately $46 at MS63 and $298 at MS67. These figures show how powerful grade and color can become once a coin moves beyond ordinary circulated condition. The biggest excitement surrounding the 1934 Lincoln Wheat Penny comes when we move into exceptional grades and unusual varieties. Although more than 219 million Philadelphia cents were struck, the number of coins achieving extraordinary certified grades is far smaller. NGC lists the regular 1934 issue through very high grades, and its census information demonstrates that collectors actively track the finest certified examples. Current market-based data also show how dramatically values can change at the top of the grading scale. One current sales-based guide lists the 1934 wheat penny around $68 in MS66, approximately $244.50 in MS67, and several $1,000s in MS68 and higher categories. A recent 2026 market report also highlighted a 1934 Philadelphia cent graded PCGS MS68 red that sold for $3,600. These numbers reveal the extraordinary difference between a normal circulated coin and a top-condition specimen. The most exciting possibility is therefore not that every 1934 penny is a fortune, but that an exceptional coin can occupy a completely different level of the market. There is also a fascinating variety associated with the 1934 issue that serious collectors should know about. NGC describes an unusual double-die variety in which remnants of duplicate numerals can be seen well below the date, with specialists having debated whether the remnants represent 34 or 93. Because the date was no longer hand-punched into working dies by this period, NGC explains that the variety must result from a double die. This is exactly the kind of feature that can transform a familiar date into a much more specialized collecting opportunity. When examining a 1934 penny, the date deserves especially careful attention, and unusual shapes, secondary outlines, or clearly repeated design elements should be studied rather than ignored. Not every unusual mark is a valuable error, so serious findings should be compared with reliable variety references and, when appropriate, authenticated by a professional grading service. For collectors, the search for these distinctive varieties adds another layer of excitement to an already historic coin. For anyone wondering about today's market value in dollars, the 1934 Philadelphia wheat penny offers a wide range depending on exactly what you have. USA Coin Book currently estimates approximately 18 cents in good, 22 cents in very good, 24 cents in fine, 36 cents in very fine, $1.24 in extremely fine, $4.96 in about uncirculated, and $8.64 at MS60, with approximately $10 listed at MS63. APMEX's red-brown guide gives substantially stronger figures and higher certified grades, while its red guide reaches approximately $298 at MS67. Another current market source based on completed sales places exceptional MS67 examples around $244.50 and MS68 examples around $3,720. These numbers should be viewed as market references rather than guaranteed selling prices, because actual auction results depend on certification, color, eye appeal, provenance, buyer competition, and the exact quality of the individual coin. But the overall picture is extremely interesting. The 1934 wheat penny can range from a modest historic collectible to a premium coin worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars when exceptional quality or rarity enters the picture. If you have a 1934 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark, the best thing you can do is examine it carefully and protect it in its original condition. Start by confirming the 1934 date and the blank mint mark area beneath it. Then use good lighting to study Lincoln's portrait, especially the hair, cheek, jaw, coat, and lettering. Turn the coin over and examine the wheat ears, denomination, inscriptions, rim, and overall surface. Pay special attention to the date because of the known double-die variety associated with this year. Look for strong remaining details and attractive natural color, and avoid cleaning, polishing, rubbing, or applying chemicals to the coin. Original surfaces are highly important to collectors, and an untouched coin with pleasing natural color can be far more desirable than a coin that has been artificially brightened. If your example appears unusually sharp, visually impressive, or potentially unusual, professional authentication and grading can provide a reliable assessment and help establish its position in the collector market. The 1934 Lincoln Wheat Penny is a perfect example of why old coins continue to fascinate collectors around the world. It combines the timeless Lincoln design, the iconic wheat reverse, the history of Depression-era America, classic bronze composition, and the possibility of discovering exceptional condition or a fascinating die variety. A normal circulated Philadelphia example is an affordable piece of history, while a beautifully preserved coin can attract stronger collector interest as its grade rises. The highest certified examples demonstrate just how far the market can move when preservation becomes extraordinary, with current market information showing premium values reaching hundreds and exceptional specimens reaching into the thousands. So the next time you encounter a 1934 wheat penny without a mint mark, do not overlook its potential as a collectible. Study the date, inspect the details, admire the natural color, protect the surfaces, and investigate anything unusual. It may be a classic circulated coin, a premium condition example, or an exciting variety waiting to be identified. The possibility of finding that special coin is what keeps the search alive, and the 1934 Lincoln Wheat Penny remains one of the most fascinating pieces to discover from America's historic wheat cent era.